Do you think that Zion, the Pelicans should move on from him, or they should keep on trying to build with him? I think number one, the only thing I really want to say on this is that I think there's still a lot of criticism towards Zion for and it's not accurate because I'm watching Zion recently and he looks like he's in the best shape that he's been in a while.
He's amazing at basketball.
He looks. Just look at him from a physique standpoint. I know that there was so many jokes about him when he got the tattoo and how he looked shirtless, but looking at him right now when he's on the court, I mean, he looks slimmer. He looks like he's in great shape. So I think all the jokes revolving around him in the media about how he just doesn't take care of himself, I think it's valid in moments, but for that to be one of the main things being said about him right now, I don't feel like he looks like a dude that's out of shape to me right now.
I think the main thing is that he just doesn't stay on the court. I think that's the main thing people try and poke fun at when it comes to Zion, that he's an amazing talent. He's just never available. And it's a fair conversation to have. We always know I'm pro Zion Williamson. I understand when he's on the court, he's one of the most entertaining, one of the most dominant players I've ever seen. It's just a matter of keeping him on the court consistently. And if you're the Pelicans, I think you may need to cut ties, but you shouldn't be upset about it when he goes to another team and he plays high-level basketball, because it just should be one of those things that we understand it's not working out with the Pelicans. It's unfortunate that their time has been as underwhelming as it's ended up being. You were supposed to have a nice foundation with you and Brandon Ingram. The two of you never could just stay healthy at the same time. Last year when they were healthy, we saw them be one of the best teams in basketball until, of course, BI goes down. And then right in the playing game with 2 minutes left in the game, or in the fourth quarter, Zion's the entire fourth, Zion's just not able to come back. And that's when he had 40 points and dominating who was arguably the best defensive player in basketball last year. Of course, it's Rudy and Victor, but I got to throw some love to AD. But regardless, he dominated that matchup. His time in New Orleans may be looked at as a failure, but in order so it's not an overwhelming failure to the Pelicans, I think they need to trade Zion, get a type of compensation for him so that at minimum it is not a situation where they got nothing for him. He's going to leave. He's going to be great, but the Pelicans need to try and capitalize as much as they can.
I just don't know what's to capitalize on right now. You need two people here, right? The Pelicans have to be willing to trade Zion, but you got to have another team that's willing to give New Orleans something that's valuable, because although he's finally healthy again, right? He's been playing. He's still on a minutes restriction, but he's looking good, right? I agree. They almost goddamn beat Boston the other night, and they had a big win. They had a big win. It hasn't been hard. They had a big win last night. First of all, the fact that they've had all these injuries is obviously terrible. Trey Murphy has been playing his fucking ass off this season. He's having a career high 21. He's putting the ball on the court. Still a great defender. He's been phenomenal. So I feel like that's one of the bright spots that the Pelicans have had this year. But Zion, it's just difficult because he's so talented that you don't want to give up on him at one of his lowest values right now. Right now, you're not going on the open market and you're not getting a superstar haul for Zion. But the other issue is, when are you going to get a superstar haul for Zion? When is there ever going to be a time in his career that you think realistically he can play 70 games, right? He did it one time in his career, but that's looking like an outlier right now. God willing, he could fix that, and going into the future, he could be more healthy. But it's hard for me to envision New Orleans trading him for 2 protected picks, and they're going to have to sell their fan base on, this is a guy we gave up basically AD for. He's supposed to be the face of the franchise, and we'll be lucky if we get the 17th overall pick in return. So it's hard because I just don't think his value is really what it deserves. I don't think you're going to be able to get either a young player that you could be happy about or a draft pick that's anywhere near the value of what he can be. And what he can be is he could be one of the 10 best players in basketball. It's just he has not been able to put that on the court consistently right now. So I think that puts the Pels in a tough situation, because I don't want to have to move off of him, get some shitty draft picks. I'm New Orleans. I'm not a free agent destination. I'm not going to get a great draft pick for him. I just traded DeJounte Murray. They're in a tough situation. I would keep him. Hopefully the trade value goes up. He could stay healthy, and maybe you could get a couple unprotected picks. But other than that, it's hard for me to envision him just going for a low value offer.
I'm good off it, honestly. I'm good off the experiment, and it's not even it's unfortunate. He's been dealing with so many injuries. Zion Williams is still I don't know basketball player, in the sense of we still don't know what he is. This is a guy whose game is very simplistic. Like, it's very simple in terms of you have to build a specific team around him and around his skill set. This is a guy that could possibly be schemed up in a playoff game because of the lack of skill in his game on certain aspects, whether it be the jumper, the ball handling ability, just the physical size, being 6'6", being that small at the power forward position. I just don't know what he is yet still. And unfortunately, we don't have enough game film to really, not even like to see it, more for him to keep working on his game, because every time he gets hurt, he has to climb back from injury. And it's always like a uphill battle to just continue to get better, continue to stay on the court. And it really does suck, because I feel like that Pelicans team has all gone through that situation of just they're always hurt. But I feel like the stock for me is kind of dead in the sense of I don't know where Zion goes from here. I don't know if they decide to trade him. I don't know who decides to trade him, because like I said, you need a specific skill set. Like the teams around the league, Houston won't trade for him. Doesn't make sense. OKC, I don't know. Like, does that make sense? Does that not? A team like Detroit, I don't know. Does they do they?
I've heard
do they
the
not?
Knicks, but why would the Knicks
The
do
Knicks
that? I don't know
wouldn't
if they
do it.
really
That
can
doesn't
with all
make
their
sense.
contracts.
Like Brooklyn would be the one team that has like they need a star, they have the cap, stuff like that. Charlotte, maybe.
Charlotte
but then,
makes a lot of sense,
But
in my
do you
opinion.
want to go to Charlotte? Like, does Charlotte have anything where the Pelicans are like,
LaMelo?
we want that? You know, like if you give up LaMelo, then you're it doesn't make
It'll be
sense.
fun
That's not what I
if,
Yeah, it'd be
if it's on the
cool, but
court.
like now you're looking at a LaMelo Zion duo in the East. It's like, yeah, like
Awesome.
it sounds
Can I
fun
ask
to
you
watch.
a question though? What do you mean that he's an I don't know player?
In the sense of if you go into a playoff game, right? We know, like, using specific guys that are around his skill set. A guy like Giannis, we know his limitations, right? This is the jumper. Prior to this year, it's the jumper. You know, if you build up a wall against him, you know, if you try to double him, you force him to make the extra pass, or you force him to take the jump shot, you give him that space. That is a form of a limitation in Giannis's game.
Mm-hmm.
As a form of Zion, you go into a playoff matchup, if he sees a specific matchup where they can box him up, they can wall him up, you know, they can give him kind of that space of where you just take the jumper. If he's not hitting it, you know, that can become a limitation in the Pelicans' offensive infrastructure.
Here's the thing: he's not taking the jumper. That's one thing I know about Zion. He will not take the jumper.
But in a playoff game, you're gonna have to.
He's
eventually.
working on it recently.
He is.
Yeah,
No, I know he's
he's been
working on
working, I
it.
agree.
But
Doesn't look great.
my thing is,
I love it.
in that game versus the Lakers, he
playing
was
game.
going at AD.
I agree.
He was going into AD's
That might
chest
be the
and
best Zion
finishing
game of his
over
career.
him.
Yeah, I agree. But that's also one game and a play-in game that's
But AD
revolves
is still
around.
the best one of the best defenders in the world, especially last season. I say that where you go. I'm
That
not
was the
saying
last
he's
year.
going to average 40.
That was 2
last,
years ago.
No, that was
That
last.
was 2 years ago.
No, that was last
It was last year.
last
That was last
season.
year?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say you had me tripping for a sec.
Yeah, because they made the playoffs.
Yeah, they played the Nuggets.
without
Yeah.
Zion. Yeah.
But my whole thing is, I'm not saying he's going to average 40 in a playoff series. I'm not saying that, obviously. But if you can go up against, in a game, winner take all, against one of the best rim protecting,
I
one
mean, I
of the
watched
best
Draymond
anchors
box him up
in
So
basketball.
I watched Draymond box him up in a high intense game. Like AD's never been a guy. No disrespect to AD. AD's never been a guy where you say he locks somebody up. Like he's not that. I don't think he's that type of defender. So like you watching Zion give him 40 and then
I mean,
look.
the only person that legitimately gives AD consistent fits is Jokic.
I don't really see him, but in the West, he hasn't really had to guard anybody that's elite at the big man position. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I guess Jaren, but
I know the Kings give you guys fits in a regular season, but in a playoff series, I'm more than fine with LeBron and AD versus the
No,
Kings.
duh.
You know, and I think you look at it, you know, you just see guys like you see Ant Edwards versus Dallas. You know, you see him struggle. You see Kevin Durant and Devin Booker versus Minnesota. You see guys like that struggle.
We haven't seen Zion in the playoffs yet.
Exactly, and I think Zion has a more limited skill set as opposed to guys like those where he might genuinely struggle, and that's why he's a I don't know player because I don't know what. Yes, he has the playing game, but that's one game in 4 or 5 years of just that's what we're hoping on against the Lakers that they might not play.
This is just a gut feeling, but I think that the Pelicans are going to end up trading Zion. And I think wherever Zion goes, he's going to really thrive.
I agree.
I think
I
that
hope
he
so.
just hates the Pelicans. He doesn't like playing for them. And if he goes to a different organization, it's going to totally
Where,
change his career.
Like you're telling me he's gonna go to Charlotte and thrive? Who is
Oh, no,
thriving
no,
in
no.
You
Charlotte?
tell me
No,
he's leaving New Orleans and he just magically is healthy.
Charlotte
Yo,
is awful.
what if he went to Pistons?
I
If he went
think-
to the Pistons, that would be so fun for the game.
I've heard some teams out there. I've heard
Because
You
you,
know-
can, with all due respect, I know that they invested heavy stock into these two guys, But if it cost Asar and it cost Ron Holland, one of the two,
Nuts.
I would make that move.
Oh, you wouldn't?
Not both.
I said one.
I mean,
one
it's
of
for Zion.
It is Zion. I would trade both if the Pelicans said I need both.
Potentially not playing for you guys.
Yeah.
Like the stock, I get the stock, but we're so removed from that 60 games, 27 point per game season.
But last year he was amazing.
He was. How many games?
He played damn near the whole season.
Was it like 40?
No, I think he played almost 70 games last year.
I don't remember if he played 70 games.
Zion played a ton of games last season.
Was that last year?
Yes.
I guess I'm thinking of 2 years prior because I keep thinking that playing game was 2 years ago.
Are you looking at
Zion played 70.
Okay.
So he's been in the league
I keep
for
thinking of
this
2
is
years
his
ago.
5th
2 years
season.
ago.
His rookie year he played 24 games. Second season 61.
Godsend.
Third season 29. Fourth season 70. And then this year he's played 9.
So every other season.
Yeah.
So this is the time to trade for him because next year he's gonna play 60.
cooking.
Probably, you know what I mean? Like,
So yeah, I don't know. Like,
I've seen some
like,
teams out there. I know the Miami Heat are one of those teams out there that, maybe the Heat culture or whatever can fix him.
what Heat culture,
Rockets?
bro?
Sengun and Zion
I'm
that's
straight off the Rockets.
There's this.
and Amon. You're still
just
have to
how
wait for that
fast they
jumper.
would be running. Like that, I feel like how
In transition?
athletic
Yeah,
it
but
would
that
be.
doesn't help
understand.
their half.
I don't know if
court
Zion's
offense.
an Ime guy.
Yeah,
But
I think there's
They
one
do
team.
need a little bit of spacing, but Zion getting to the bucket at will.
I'll be honest. I don't think they'll give up none of their young players for Zion.
There's one team that sticks
Cam
out to
Williams
me
been hooping
for
recently
Zion.
too.
The one team that sticks out to me is a team that has the second most draft capital behind OKC. And if they trade for Zion,
Spurs.
they're gonna have the two biggest talented players at their position, Zion and Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, okay.
That would excite the shit out of me.
I think
That seems
Zion,
I'd be pushing
like
dangerously
genuinely,
close to being
I
a
think
Spurs.
Zion's career can thrive in San Antonio. He's gonna play with a big that can stretch out the floor.
For sure.
You surround that with shooters. How do you guard a team that has Wembanyama and then Zion, who they can just both dominate the paint?
Oh, for sure.
That is it would be one of the most unguardable, unstoppable duos in the NBA. The theory of it, because Zion has to stay on the court.
The theory
But
for
That's the
sure.
problem.
I feel like for the Spurs, that's a risk worth taking.
Because
How much do you have to give up to make that?
All right, here we
risk?
go. Let's. Oh, I don't think it's what is it 40?
I think he's making like 40.
If it's 3 first, would you do it?
Ooh,
Unprotected.
for the hope that he's healthy, I'm good.
I'm
I
straight.
feel like the Spurs can get a better guy.
I was gonna say I got Vic. He's fucking.
you can give
21
up
years
5
old,
for
bro.
D Book, and he's gonna play.
That's why, the price of Zion is just it's 3 unprotected first. Why am I doing that?
When
I don't
go
think I
get,
got
I can go
to.
get better.
The thing is, we could be looking back on this 2 years from now and think, man, 3 firsts is nothing.
And that's the problem with him. Like you really don't know. Like you take the gamble, maybe.
I would take a gamble. I'm
I
also
don't
a
know.
fan.
Okay,
I'm
so
being fair.
Zion's-
I'll be honest. I'm being a fan, but at the same time, when we watch him play basketball, we know what we're watching.
So Zion is $36 million. That's what he's making. They
Beautiful.
can package Keldon Johnson
Yep, and
with
Harrison
Harrison Barnes, and that trade is successful.
I agree.
And then you add picks.
If you're telling me they're protected, sure.
Like if I'm giving up
nothing.
Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, and 2 or 3 firsts for Zion, I'm doing that in a
no,
heartbeat.
I'm running to the phone and I'm
Which ones?
saying yes.
They have the Hawks picks. They have their own picks.
You can also give up that Timberwolves pick.
Yeah, they have Timberwolves first round picks in
I think
2030.
if you're telling me 2030 and 29, sure, yeah.
They have the Hawks
sure.
first round picks. They have their own.
I don't think the Pels are gonna be like, yeah, just give us 20, 30
I
picks.
think
They're
the
gonna want
Spurs
25,
have
26.
10 first round picks in the next 4 drafts.
Yeah, I agree.
they can give up 3 and still have 7.
I'm sorry. I'm not giving up 3 unprotected first round picks for hope that he stays healthy.
I would. I feel like
Because
the
then you're gonna be
Spurs can
si-
change around his.
You're going to be sitting there.
his life.
I don't think an organization can change your health.
Can I ask you a question?
You're either healthy or
Did
you're
you
not.
think 3 firsts for Siakam was a lot?
Siakam's healthy?
I'm just asking in general. Like, take Zion out of the equation for a second. Was 3 firsts for Siakam a lot?
No.
Not really.
I mean, in hindsight, it's like, what are they, average?
But they went to the ECF.
Yeah.
In theory, right? Just off that alone, I understand that he's healthy. But Zion, when he's played, he's better than Siakam. He's a better basketball player
How
than
many
Siakam.
games has Siakam played significantly more in the last 4 years?
You can bank on Siakam playing almost an entire season. He's pretty
That
available.
was
What'd
really.
you just do, bro?
Well, I took
You
the
slurped
juice
it?
out the cap. Hey, relax. He's talking. Listen. Pay attention to me.
You slurped mad loud.
I just look at it from that lens. Yes, Siakam's available, but the talent for 3 firsts, I understand that it's a gamble, but this is a player that would cost an unbelievably amount more than that if he were 100% healthy. This is the lowest you're going to get him.
Bro, Wemby, Zion, Sohan, Devin Vassell,
Castle. You guys say
Castle.
brother.
The
Vassell.
team's fun.
like they had like
We need
honestly
we need to get into the lab.
they need to
Shooting
shoot
lab.
better, no doubt. But I mean,
Champagne can get better. Champagne can get
we need
better.
Castle and Sohan to get into the shooting lab.
No, but
Castle
Sohan
is shooters,
has
so-
been improving every
we already
single
see
season.
the Spurs now. The Spurs now are already a playing team with no second star. If Zion could be there, they could literally be.
I just don't know
one
if
of
I
the
wanna
4 best
bank
teams
on
in the
You
West.
Zion.
guys
is my
are really
second star.
banking on something
No,
you
no,
haven't seen.
I'm honestly like, if,
Haven't seen in who?
The health. I meant. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, Zion and Wemby, that's a duo I want to make happen if I'm the Spurs.
I need it.
Yeah.
I wish you never said
If you're
it.
telling me
Why?
flat out on a piece of paper they're gonna play, fucking yeah, I'll
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
But you're sitting there and you're just, I can't walk into this with blind faith.
Well, are you gonna do it off the? Are you gonna do it knowing the risk?
No, I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't do it.
No, I
you're
wouldn't.
staying away from Zion.
If you telling me 3 firsts, Keldon and Harrison can get me Zion, I feel like I can go get Devin Booker for 5 firsts, one more young player, and he's gonna play. Like, he's legitimately gonna play. Not only play, he's a better player than Zion.
Better fit too.
Yeah, so like, why wouldn't I not go sit there and be like, I can go get a better player with all this?
I don't know, man. I kind of think the Zion and Wemby fit would be kind of perfect.
I don't think it's a bad fit, but
It's not-
Devin Booker's
it's
a
a
bad
bad
fit.
I
by
think
any
Zion he can handle the ball. I feel like that's really something that the
Just the issue
Pelicans
is like
don't
Castle
explore
right
with.
now isn't a great shooter.
They'd be great in the pick and roll. Zion would have space to work with because he has a stretch big.
You're gonna have 2 non-shooters unless
What's
Castle
the
just.
what's the Spurs 3-point shooting percentage just as a team?
It's probably low. Not a
And
lot.
Wemby's taking almost 10.
Great
He's shooting
shooters.
30, 35, 36.
No, I put that. I made that team in 2K. I'm in like my second year.
Oh,
like,
you've been
the
locked in.
finals. Yeah, I already experimented with that team. Later today, I'm gonna play Madden and put Justin Fields on the Jets.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Okay.
My,
want
shout out
Stephon
to, shout,
Castle's shooting 25% from 3 this year.
yes.
terrible.
Shout out to my boy Femi. He really wants
Damn, the
Justin
Thunder
Fields
are
on
up
the Giants.
87 to
Yep.
54.
You're
Yeah,
beating
they're
the shit out
cooked.
of
Putting in
Caps.
Caps.
yeah,
Talking about they
found
deserve
it.
4 All-Stars. Get out of here.
You said that.
Huh?
You said that.
I'm just kidding.
They're 23rd in 3-point percentage,
Yeah, they suck.
but they're 6th in 3-point attempts.